Hello, welcome again to this show whereby myself, Andrew Nyamayaro, a solicitor at Tanlo Solicitors, makes presentations on legal issues that are affecting people on legal matters. I am a solicitor at Tanlo Solicitors, and please subscribe to our YouTube channel and also like our personal or our business page, Tanlo Solicitors, and my personal profile, Andrew Nyamayaro, on Facebook, whereby I give people information in relation to immigration matters, family matters, um, wills, probate, business matters, dispute resolution, and a lot of other things that we deal with. So today I've got an interesting topic, a topic on immigration. I have got questions that I've received from various people about visas, about immigration in the United Kingdom and to the United Kingdom, particularly England, Wales, and Scotland and Northern Ireland. So the first question that I am going to tackle is a question on the types of visas. So many times I do get questions from people through WhatsApp, through Facebook, through emails, direct contact asking me, how can I come to the United Kingdom? How can I extend my visa to the United Kingdom? People outside the UK would want to come and know what exactly is required from them. And then some people that are in the UK are on a particular type of visa, but they want to extend, or if they are not extending, they want to change over or to switch to another category, depending on their circumstances. So, speaking in general terms, someone can come to the United Kingdom or someone can have leave to remain. Leave to remain is just a word, a phrase which refers to a visa. So when you're coming outside the country, it's called leave to enter. When you're in the United Kingdom, it's leave to remain. But effectively, we're talking about visas. Visas can be based on being a family member. So we have got visas based on protection, say asylum. Then we've got visas based on what is called the points-based system, which encompass skilled workers and students. And then we have got visas that are based on human rights. A number of visas are based on human rights. So some people might come to the United Kingdom based on family. If you are a spouse coming to join your British partner or someone who's got indefinite leave to remain or who is on a discretionary leave to remain, if they now qualify to sponsor someone, or you might be coming because you are a parent or extending your visa because you are a parent or even on medical grounds. So there is a number of human rights grounds that can be used. Particularly we refer to Article 3 and Article 8. Sometimes we do refer to the other articles of the European Convention of Human Rights or the Human Rights Act in the United Kingdom. So it's a family, private life. Under private life, some people might remain in the United Kingdom because they've been here for more than 20 years as a mixture of both illegal and legal stay in the UK. Some would be here illegally, but after 20 years, they will then qualify to apply for leave to remain. Then under asylum, these are people that are seeking protection for fear of persecution in their own home country. The fear of persecution can be based on political reasons, religious reasons, nationality, race, or what is called membership of a particular social group. People who belong to a membership of a particular social group are people that fear persecution from their country or in their country because of a natural characteristic which they have. This can be because of their sexuality, or if they are women, then in their culture or traditions, they might be exercising female genital mutilation (FGM), and they don't want to be exposed to that. Some women suffer persecution simply because they are women. And in other communities, people suffer persecution because they've fallen in love with someone who's not approved by the family, and blood feuds and so forth. So there's different reasons why someone can also seek um, asylum. So then some people can come or can remain in the UK based on points-based applications, or those visas that are based on work. For example, if you're coming as a skilled worker, or if you're a global talent, if you are someone who is very intelligent, who has got an innovative idea, and you come here, you can then get it as a global talent, or what is called business startup. If you meet the requirements for business startup, then you can be able, your idea needs to be endorsed. So there's some endorsement bodies that are out there that can endorse you for you to be able to then rely on those grounds. We are all aware of the white paper that was introduced sometime in May, beginning of the year, and they're speaking about people that can come and do those global visas at a larger scale, innovator visas, people that can come and invest in the UK, people that invest a lot of money in the UK or are high earners, can then reduce their number of years towards settlement from the base line of 10 years to as low as 3 years. So those are some of the grounds that people can come to the UK. Some would come as entertainers, some would come as a sports person, some will come as students if you meet the requirements of a particular student, a university or a degree that you can come into. So you can also then come as a student. If you are coming on a temporary basis, it depends on the reason. So there's what is called the visitors visa, and visitors visa has got different categories. It has got a standard family visa, a standard visa. You can come for medical treatment, you can come for a short business meeting, or you can come as a sports person or as an entertainer, depending on the reason that you are giving it for the period. And some people come to the United Kingdom and I think it's to the tier five or the odd tier five where you are coming to volunteer for charity. You can come under that as well if there's those bilateral agreements between your countries and so forth. So those are the major grounds on which someone can get a visa to the United Kingdom. It's up to you to then see if you've got any reason or a ground on which you can come to the UK and stay. So many people just ask me, do I have a ground to stay? I have to get into your personal circumstances or into your qualifications, your experience, and family life, so that I can try to establish whether or not you've got a ground. But it's not a one size fit all situation where people can come to the United Kingdom. The second question is on settlement, and a lot of people are worried about settlement because there is the proposal by the government, which is still under consultation, to increase the 5 year period for people that are on the 5 year route to 10 years. And some who have got who are doing work that is below the degree level, such as carers and senior carers, likely to be put on 15 years before they can qualify for settlement in the UK. And those who have entered into the UK illegally, those people, for example, have come by boat or other ways by in the back of a lorry and they've come illegally, then those ones are likely to get about 30 years before they settle into the United Kingdom. So I'm getting a lot of questions on settlement. And if you are already qualifying for settlement and citizenship for that matter, I encourage you to really take it seriously and apply at this time, because a lot of things are changing. The English requirement is going to change to go to a higher level, and B, the period might be increased as well from 5 years, if you qualify on 5 years, to 10 years. There are some factors that the proposal says that the government will consider whether to increase the years from 10 years. For example, if you have got criminal convictions, bad character, debts, and so forth, that will increase it. And there are some factors that will decrease it. For example, if you're a high earner, if you work for the public service, if you qualify for English, you integrate into the community, those factors can reduce it from 10 years to 5 years. uh, or well, 5 years or even 3 years, some to 7 years, because each factor has got its own number of years that it will reduce, and the Home Office will consider the factor that has got the number of years, the highest number of years. So if you've got 2 or 3 factors applicable to you, they will consider just the one which has got the highest number of years, so that they can take it into account to either reduce or increase your um, route to settlement under the new proposals. Applications are done online, so you can apply for your settlement online. And if you apply before your current visa expires, it doesn't affect your current visa, you can still continue. And some routes for settlement, you've got priority. Some routes for settlement, especially those under long residence, the current 10 years doesn't have um, priority, because the Home Office argues that there's a lot of evidence that needs to be considered in such applications, so they take a bit longer time to be considered. So it just depends where your settlement is coming from. Is it coming from a spouse of a British partner, or a settled person, as a spouse of a skilled worker? Have you been on a asylum? For those ones, people that were on refugee or protection, the applications are free, and for everyone else, the applications you pay. Off my head, currently around 3,300 for you to get settlement in the United Kingdom. Then another question that I got is, can I work if I am on a student visa? Now, the students, there's a presumption or a misnomer by people that all the students work 20 hours during term time, and any hours that they want to work over holidays and so forth. It depends. Some students are not allowed to work at all. Some students are allowed to work, for example, 10 hours if their course is less than 12 months. Some are allowed to work 20 hours and so forth. So if you're an employer, or even for that matter, a student, you need to check how many hours are you allowed by the Home Office, if you're allowed at all. And then you can work. Students are allowed to work part-time, as we know, on average 20 hours per week, and on holidays they can do as many hours as they want. And then if they get a job at the end of their course, maybe they get a COS, or they get their another job, then there is a strategic move that you will need to do. For example, if you're going to be allocated a COS, it cannot be allocated more than 3 months into your course. It has to be 3 or less months towards your finishing of your course, and so forth. And at the moment, if you are a student, there is that route that you can go on, post-study work, the graduate visa, as it is commonly known. It's currently at, it, it's 24 or 18. I think that's been reduced to 18 now, 18 months for the post-study graduate visa. That's an option that you can take if you're a student, if you've not got your skilled worker option with you, or another option that is applicable to you. So student, yes, you can work. Double check if you are on you're not allowed to work at all, or you're allowed to work 10 hours or 20 hours, depending on your visa that you have, or on your course that you are doing. How long does it take to make a citizen application? So citizen applications, on average, they take, in my experience, around 6 months. Sometimes they'll take less, sometimes they'll take more. The Home Office is highly unpredictable when it comes to timelines. So we do get clients who might get it even at 3 months or even less, and then you get some at 6 months. And if it's getting to 6 months, they will then send you a letter or an email to say that there's difficulties with your application, this and that, and so forth, just to try to justify themselves on that. So if you are applying for a citizenship, obviously you need to prepare yourself. You need to do, if you have not done so, on your settlement, your life in the UK, which is going to be made more stringent again in the near future. The English test, if you have not got an exemption, or if you are not over the age of exemption as well, and the evidence of your stay in the UK that is required under this citizenship application. So if you are to do a citizen application, it will not stop you to travel and so forth. Because the citizenship application, you've got a visa, but it will need a bit of time according to my current experience at the moment. The next question that I received is that, can I bring my children as dependents? So that depends on the type of visa that you have. For example, if you are on the discretionary leave to remain that was granted to you under human rights grounds, ordinarily you will not be able to bring dependents, whether they are children or your partner at all, until you do 10 years on the visa. So that means that you would have then 10 years on the visa, and then you bring your children, etc. after that. But again, depending on the type of visa, you can bring your children to the United Kingdom. Most can also allow to bring your dependents to the UK. So if, for example, the sponsor or the parent is British, is settled in the UK, has got refugee status, those ones can clearly bring their dependents. Carers can no longer bring their dependents anymore. If you're on 6135, 6136, you cannot bring dependents anymore as from 2024. So be careful if you are switching, and you are going into the 6135, 6136. You need to be very careful that you will not be able to sponsor anyone. It doesn't matter that your family is already in the UK, you will not be able to sponsor them. So you end up in a situation whereby the partners, the husband and the wife, or the partners each have to have their own COS, and we have to then use human rights for the children to argue that they're already in the UK. Any other COS, any other SOC code, standard occupation code, you can bring people or dependents to the United Kingdom, provided you meet the relevant skills level, and the academic level. So RQF6, you can bring, that is the level of a degree. You can bring dependents, and again, it also depends on the education. Students, PhD students can bring dependents, and other students cannot bring dependents anymore. So it's no longer a rush whereby you can just become a student to be able to bring children to the or your family to the United Kingdom. That is no longer the case anymore, and it's going to be made more stringent as well. So I would say check the type of visa that you have to see if you can bring children to the United Kingdom. If not, check what your partner or husband or wife has. Maybe they can be able to utilize that as well. Let me just comment also on the fact that if a child is born in the UK, it does not necessarily make them British. Some people think that giving children in the UK when you are on a limited visa will make them British straight away. No, they have to be here for 7 years or 10 years up to that period, 5 years to get indefinite leave to remain and so forth. They can qualify for a few waivers under those circumstances, etc. So it's not always what people think, that having a child in the UK, if you are not settled yourself, or if you're not British, or if your partner is not settled or British, then they cannot necessarily be British straight away. Can dependents work in the United Kingdom? Again, yes, dependents largely can work in the United Kingdom. So they'll obviously have to have the visa to work. They are here as your dependent, so we assume that they've got leave to remain, which they can check through their own e-visa. They can work, they are very flexible. Some people would ask me, can they start a company? Yes, they can start a company. Can they study? Yes, they can study, but they'll be recognized as international students, and most universities would require them to pay international students rate. So they can work. They've got no limit to the time that they can work. It's just dependent on employment law and also the circumstances of the family, um, how they can work. Because obviously, if, for example, if you've got children, one person has to be around to look after the children, and the other one can go to work and so forth. I know that that causes a lot of friction in some families, whereby both partners want to go to work. No one wants to stay with the children, and everyone wants to earn money and so forth. But it's something that can be answered in the affirmative, that dependents can work in the UK, they can study in the UK, they can start and operate a company in the UK, they can travel in and out of the country. But again, you need to be very careful. Too much traveling outside the country might impact on your next extension, and most definitely it will impact on your settlement application if you spend a lot of time outside the UK rather than in the United Kingdom. So how to apply for a dependent visa is another question that I received. If you've got any questions, you can either send them to my WhatsApp, which is on the screen there. Then I can respond to them in an anonymized way as much as I can, or you can put them in the chats, and then I can also be able to reply to them in the chats. So if you've got any questions, please put them. I'll just finish off the ones which I received before I started, and then I'll look into my WhatsApp, and then I'll also look into the charts for the questions that are there. So the next question is how to apply for a dependent visa. So again, we need to be very careful when we are making applications with the Home Office, whether it's an application for a visa, an application for a fee waiver, or any other type of application that we do. The Home Office doesn't necessarily have a standard form or a standard way in which they take applications, and each route has got its own circumstances. So you'll find on certain routes, you can add your dependents when you are making the application. In the same application, you can add them. In certain applications, each person have to make their own application form, and then you have to then do a cover letter to explain that we have made, so and so has made an application, so and so has made an application, this is their reference number, etc. So again, it's also impacted on whether or not the application is being made within the country or outside the UK. If it's outside the country, it might have different approach as well, rather compared to an approach in the UK. So, and one thing that a lot of people have been affected with in the past few months, particularly those who are on the skilled worker visa and their employers have had their sponsor licenses suspended or revoked, and some people, as a cautious move or as a strategic move, you've made applications for fee waivers and so forth, and they will be asking for non-applying dependents or applying dependents. Then they will put their dependents on non-applying, and they think that they put them on applying dependents, only to find out that their visas or the visas of their families have now lapsed, and now they now are illegally in the country and so forth. So you need to be very careful when you're making applications with the Home Office to read every T and every dot to make sure that you understand them and you apply the necessary information that is required there. So yes, dependents can apply, but they can be part of your application, or they can do their own applications depending on the nature of the application. But it's always important to put a cover letter when you submit your evidence. Are there any age limits for child dependence? So this is an important question, because most of the people that are asking me this question, they came from around 2022 under the health and social care visa. The social is carers, senior carers, nursing auxiliaries, etc. Some of them came with children that were at the age of, say, if they came in 2022, the child was maybe 15, some were 16, some were 17. And now, in their renewals, most of them, we were given 3 years or 2 years, whatever period they were given. The children are now 18 and above. So now they are adults in their own rights. So that causes a lot of issues for a number of reasons. The first thing is, we know young adults, they want their independence, and when they are growing, they want to establish their own territory, so to say, so they might want to move out of the family house, they might want to go and work away in another city or a town or to go and study and so forth. Some have formed their own relationships, whether through friends or through intimate relationships and so forth. So we need to be very careful with those kind of children who are now over the age of 18. We need to prove, and thank God this is not being changed under the white paper. They will still remain dependents as long as they can show that they are still part of the family. So if someone gets married, for example, then they are no longer part of the family unit. If someone gets pregnant or they've got a child, the Home Office might consider them not part of the family unit as well. So it's something that needs to be considered. If there is no evidence of them staying with you or any documentation coming to your address, which might be the family house, and they've got their own address, they're own doing their own things. There's nothing attaching them to you in terms of documentation, and maybe they're already working full time. You need to be very careful of those circumstances. The Home Office may interpret that to say that the young adult is now an independent person and can no longer depend on mom or dad or both of them because they now independent. So we need to consider those circumstances very carefully. If you've got a child, they have to have circumstances that will show that they are still part of the family unit, despite the fact that they might be working or going to university or college. They have to show that. But in circumstances where they've got married themselves, they've got a child, they're living with their partner, etc., that can be a high indication to the Home Office that they are no longer part of the family unit. Therefore, they cannot extend as a dependent of the parent. They have to look for their own ways to do that. Okay. I see some questions that are coming in the comments. So I will refer to those ones, and then I'll also look in the WhatsApp if there's anything in the WhatsApp. Okay, a question that I received on WhatsApp is, how long does it take to get a decision as a dependent when your spouse receives his decision? So again, that depends on the nature of the application that you have made. In this case, I want to believe that both of you have got limited leave to remain, most likely as skilled workers. The skilled workers visas don't normally take long. A week or so, you get your decision. At most 3 weeks, you get your decision. Those are the fastest decisions with the Home Office in our experience. But if there is if there's a delay in your visa application, then it could be because of the evidence that has been submitted or any other technical issues that are there. So the question being, how long does it take to get a decision as a dependent? I would say as a dependent, it should take the same time as the main applicant. And if you don't get it in with the same time with the applicant, I would say give it up to about 4 weeks or so, and then try to follow up the Home Office if you can. But ordinarily, it should come the same time, almost a similar time as the main applicant as well. So that would be my answer to this question. The other question that I have is, what evidence is required by the Home Office to prove that your common law marriage is broken down permanently apart from affidavits? Well, unfortunately, these things are happening at a high rate, at a scary rate, where people are breaking their relationships, reporting each other to the Home Office, whistleblowing on one another, and so forth. And the Home Office, as you would know, their starting point, with due respect, is that they want immigrants to leave or not to come. So any whiff of information to show that a relationship is broken down, they will entertain that with keen attention. So they can take anything just from a phone call. There's a form that is available online where you just person who is reporting to the Home Office who will just complete the form. It will take about 10 minutes. Input their details, input your details, put the reasons why the relationship is broken down, put your contact details. That's it. There's not even any need for any evidence. They will request any evidence if they want to, but they can be satisfied by that information only, particularly in circumstances whereby domestic violence is involved. Then, in such circumstances, the Home Office will just take it. And most of the time, if it's a domestic violence, most likely other authorities such as the police, social service, etc., are involved. So it's a tricky situation. I know that people might say, we are married, can they consider a divorce, or can they consider any other stronger evidence? But the very fact that the aggrieved party has reported to the Home Office, the Home Office gives a lot of attention to that. So that is with the Home Office. Anything really, they can just take it for evidence to break your relationship. Okay, so it seems I don't have any other comments coming in, and we have come to nearly 7:30. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you've got any questions that you would want to ask privately, we can answer those questions. Obviously, if it's going to be questions that would require a lot of time, or that are very much your own circumstances, not general questions, we might ask you to do a proper consultation, because that will obviously take a lot of more time on that. But if it's just a general question, one or two questions, of course, we'll do our part in the community to give free advice to people. You can also get these videos on our YouTube channel. You can get them on our Facebook, my Facebook, Andrew Nyamayaro. If you search for me, my personal profile, on the company profile, and we have got this relationship that we have with the Zimbo Life, where we will continue to work with them on this platform to disseminate information to people. So those are the questions that I had, and thank you so much for tuning in, and see you again next week. If there's any particular topic that you want me to touch on, apart from immigration, I'm more than happy to do that. Anything to do with employment, how is employment, how is it at your workplace, are you happy in your workplace? Family, we can deal with that. Wills, you want to do a will, how do wills affect us? If you've got properties in UK, Zimbabwe, South Africa, Dubai, trust deeds and so forth, we can deal with that. Dispute resolutions, etc. We can deal with all those things. So any questions and topics that you want us to discuss, I am more than happy to do that. Thank you so much, and God bless.